5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The pit stop is vital to every race team's success. Pull off the track, let your team go to work.
Outside, clear.
Change all 4 tires, fill the fuel cell, and make needed adjustments, all in 8 seconds or less.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching, wherever in the world you're watching. Welcome to the Pits Are Open. Your host, Will Marotti. Alex Smith is our producer, and boy, am I excited. Happy birthday, Alex. Happy birthday. Why am I saying this? This is our 1-year anniversary. It was 1 year ago this week that we started this program. And it's amazing. It's amazing what we've accomplished in a week. I'm so thankful, so grateful, Alex, so grateful for you and all your help.
It's a blast. I enjoy doing it.
So grateful for our sponsors, Schaefer Oil and America's Christian Credit Union and Redline Ace. And of course, you're watching on Speedport 1. We are so thankful for Speedport. Joe Tripp, Ralph Shaheen, thank you so much for trusting us enough to be on your air. It's so amazing. It's so exciting. And we look forward to a great next year. And we're making improvements all the time. We've had some remarkable guests. We've had some remarkable opportunities to share a lot of stories. And so we're going to keep that. And we have some big news to be sharing over the next few weeks. Some really big news to share with you. Something we're working on, a brand new development. I wish I could say more about it, but I can't. It has to do obviously with motorsports. It has to do with sponsorship. It has to do with helping. What can I say? Should I? You know what? Why not? It's our show. Here's the thing that I've discovered. Our first race, the first professional race we were involved in, was the 2016 Indianapolis 500. We were co-entrants with Schmidt Peterson. We had a great driver, Oriol Servia, and we qualified 10th. And with 5-6 laps to go, we were in 4th place, but running out of gas like everybody in front of us. And long story short, blew the pit stop. We ended up 12th, but it was a great thing. And I thought that was it. And I thought, well, we got all this money. We got into it. I thought, that's like lightning, that we'll just do this every year. Well, no. That was lightning in a bottle. Very hard, very difficult. And so for 10 years, I've been pursuing that same dream. And we've had some relative success. Came back in 2017, did another 500. Came back in 2020, did another 500. And then other races in between. But it's been so hard and so difficult. Well, the racing is just it's a bad business model, to be honest. It's a really bad business model. And it's pursuing a broken model called sponsorship. So we are coming up and have developed a brand new concept, which we'll share more about in the weeks and months ahead, but a brand new concept that will help drivers, will help teams, smaller teams. I'm not talking about the Penske or Ganassi or Joe Gibbs level, but pretty much everybody down from that. We're going to help become more viable, more sustainable, try to eliminate that crunch every year of trying to squeeze the money out of the rock and not have anything left there. So that's what we're looking to do. And we'll talk more about it as time goes on. All right. Let's see. Okay. Our first guest, I'm so excited to have our first guest today. Met him back at PRI in December. And what a great driver he is. Let me just tell you, both guests today are exciting because we have a driver on who did very well last year and gunning for a championship this year. And then our second guest later in the program has started an iRacing league and then got very involved in the iRacing league and actually held an expo last year in Chicago, an iRacing expo, and had tremendous success. Planning that again for 2026. And so I can't wait to go to that. We're going to go. I think we should broadcast there. iRacing is so popular and simulator use is so popular. So we're going to talk about that with George after at the bottom of the hour. And but right now, I'm so excited to welcome to the program very competitive Trans Am driver, known for precision, discipline, racecraft, competes in the TA2 Series, finished third last year. Very good. His perspective on racing, economics, and team stability, plus driver development makes him a compelling guest for our program. And we're happy to welcome our first guest for our 1-year anniversary show is Adrian Lostowski. Lostowski, I'm sorry. I messed up. I'm sorry. Adrian, welcome.
Hey, how are you guys doing today?
Couldn't be better. And so glad to have you on. It was great to get to meet you briefly at PRI, and I know you worked with our colleague Kurt when you were there. But I'm so glad that we had a chance to get you on. You had a great season last year. Going to have a great season this year. Tell the folks about yourself. Tell your background. What was the passion? What lit your passion flame for motorsports?
So my dad was a big part of my life growing up when it comes to motorsports, cars. Working on cars and stuff like that. We came from very little growing up. He taught me, going back to when I was 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, working in a shop with him, learning my wrenches, passing him in tools, rebuilding. He worked for a place that rebuilt truck transmissions. So I must have rebuilt 100 transmissions with him. And I remember we built a Jeep together, souped up Jeep, an engine and everything. And I loved doing that stuff. And we did as much as we can for what we had. And as I got older, I'm like, I really want to go racing, but we never had enough money to go racing. And then when I was 18, I started going to the track, with a Corvette that I saved up enough money. I didn't even pay my phone bill so I could go to the racetrack that year. And I loved it. And I think I did as much as I could, as fast as I could, to get there. And I've noticed the better I got, the easier. It's still hard. It's always hard to get sponsors, but it's easier to ask a sponsor for sponsorship if you're doing well, right? And a lot of it comes, you got to put up all the stuff yourself to prove that, and then go and chase sponsorship. Right. So with that, my dad passed away when I was 20. And it was a tough time. I had to even borrow money for the funeral because it was that time in 2008 when the economy went down. 2009, he lost his job and we were all struggling and stuff like that. And then he passed away. He had a heart attack. He was 51 years old. It was a tough time. And a year later, 2011, I was like 20 years old. I wanted to open up a shop, because I knew how to work on cars. I wanted to work on cars. I'm like, I want to make a race shop. So I got my first shop in 2011. And then in 2022, the shop I'm in, I'll never forget, it was an older Italian guy, and he had a shop for lease. And a big sign on a side said, for lease, call up this real estate agent. I call up the real estate agent. I meet with him. He sees I'm a 21-year-old kid. And he says, no, you can't get this place. And I'm like, and I'm like, I was in a really small shop, but I wanted to move to this big shop. And I was worried, but I always had that thing. I had nothing to lose, so let's just do it, So driving by, I saw them sitting on buckets here. Him and his Italian buddies, they would play cards here, right? And I stopped by and I said, "Hey, I'm interested in your place." And he looked at me and he kind of laughed. He didn't take me seriously, no, but I'm like, "I'm serious. I want to take your place. I want to rent it out for you. What price would you give me?" And I saved up. I was down with my father passing away. I was really, down. So I spent a lot of time working by myself. So I saved up a decent amount of money. I saved up just from working. And that's how I kind of got over, been able to keep going when my dad passed away. It was really sad. And he said, I kept going back and he didn't take me seriously the first time. I kept passing by almost every 2 weeks. I would stop by and keep bugging him about it. And then eventually he said, you remind me of me when I was, 20 years old, and nobody would take me seriously either, And he gave me these terms where, and back then it was a lot of money for me, right? Just the rent. I remember it was $4,000, around $4,000 a month. And they wanted just because I was so young, signing this lease and everything, they wanted the first 2 months rent, the last month's rent, and 2 months security. Yeah. And
that's
I'm like,
a lot of money.
Boy.
That's a lot of money today.
I don't even know. I remember it was like probably 20, and I'm like, it was almost all the money I saved.
Sure.
And I'm like, I'm like, then what am I going to do? But I signed it anyway. I'm like,
I
gave him everything I had just to get started.
You got it. You got in there.
Friends. Yep. Borrowed a few friends, a little bit more money from a few friends of mine to get some lifts, to get equipment. And then we just started working.
Good.
And then I never forget the first month we opened, it was Hurricane Sandy here in the Northeast. You remember Hurricane Sandy?
Oh, horrible. Oh my gosh.
That was our first month, and then we had no customers coming in. Oh my goodness. I was like, how am I going to do this? I'm like, the first day I opened this place up and we have Hurricane Sandy and everything was shut down here. It was a big deal, as you can remember. And
Adrian, I'm gonna ask you to hold that thought because I know there's a lot more to the story. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to come back and I want you to tell us more about your first major garage, your first major size garage. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
This segment is brought to you by Schaefer Manufacturing. Schaefer Oil, a leader in oils and lubricants since 1839. When performance matters and equipment is pushed hard, Schaefer delivers protection that you can rely on. Even under the toughest operating conditions, their oil and advanced lubrication technology reduces friction, runs cleaner, lasts longer, and it helps you cut down on breakdowns and costly downtime. That's why Schaefer is trusted in trucking, farming, and racing. They're not average, they're excellent. It's Schaefer Oil. Learn more at schaeferoil.com.
All right, welcome back. We're so grateful for Schaefer Oil. What a great company. We're so honored to be partnered with them. And we're honored to have our guest today. This is our 1-year anniversary week, and we're excited about it. And I met this person at PRI. Very, very capable driver. Didn't start out that way. Started out kind of working his way up through the ranks, so to speak. And we're happy to welcome back Adrian Wlostowski. Adrian, welcome back.
Yep. Thank
so
you.
You took every dime you had. You got into this shop. Your friends helped you out. How long before you were actually doing business in the shop?
So 2011 was the first shop, but 2012 was the big shop.
Yep.
And right after Sandy, right during Sandy's when we started. And I think it took a year before I comfortably could pay all the bills this shop would have and stay in business. It took maybe 6 months to a year. And as soon as that happened, I said, we got to go racing. And then that's when we built a Corvette. Because that was the whole purpose. The whole purpose was to have a shop.
Just fun racing.
Was to go racing. There was no other purpose in life at that point. Was to go racing. 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
And after that, we raced with that Corvette at NASA. We won 2 regional championships with NASA, 2015, 2016. We won, forget it. I remember in New Jersey Motorsports Park, we won every single race we ever entered for 2 years straight. Then went to SCCA, won my first SCCA majors race in 2016 at Watkins Glen. Raced track. SCCA 2017-18, and then moved to Trans Am at the end of 2019 in an SGT class.
Wow.
And when I got there, it was the production class. And it has the balance of power, the BOP. When I kind of was there, I was looking at the TA2 series. And I said, I see their whole purpose was a cost cap spec racing. Because it's kind of like Spec Miata, but you have 550 horsepower. And I'm like, And I'm like, that's what I need to do. So I went 2020. We raced a whole season SGT, competed for the championship, finished second.
Wow.
We lost by 5 points, the championship that year. But we went to TA2 Racing 2021. And even starting out then to where TA2 Racing has gone now, it's night and day. Yeah. It's night and day. The competition has soared through the roof. I truly feel like some of the best drivers in the world go into TA2 to race. And I think if you could make it in TA2, you could make it anywhere. Xfinity, you watch an Xfinity race, a lot of the road courses, you'll have 5 or 6, 7 TA2 drivers. And you look at the top 5, 4 out of the top 5 are TA2 drivers, right? Would go show you that I think TA2 is like that little gem you have where it has some of the best drivers in the world that nobody really knows. And if any other drivers watching this, right? I mean, in motorsports programs, any other drivers watching this, I want them to join a TA2 race. Sure, I want you guys to come in and I want you to battle it out with us. And after that race, you let me know how tough the competition is and what your scale of 1 to 10 is. Because to me, the competition in TA2 is like solid 10.
Didn't Connor Zilic spend some time in TA2? Is that kind of where I don't know if he cut his teeth there, but I think he spent a couple of seasons in TA2, and now he's raced at in Rolex, I think, like a couple weeks ago, and going to be in NASCAR now. So it's a great series to develop racecraft, and certainly the car. Again, I watched races on Speedport this past year. I mean, the competition is fierce. I mean, it seemed like you had 35, 40 cars on the track. I don't know how many cars are entered in a TA2 race now.
On average, you'll have probably 38 cars, 40 cars.
Wow.
Sometimes you'll have 45 cars, and just being in the top 10 is an achievement in itself.
Sure.
I've had even guys I know. You have guys that win their local races, their local heroes.
Mm-hmm. And
they'll come to TA2. I'm going to get a TA2 car. I'm going to get out there and race. And you get humbled pretty quickly when you're at 32nd, 28th, 25th.
Right,
you're like, well, even the slow guys are fast here, and that's kind of what TA2 is. It's fierce competition. And if you want to line up to see how you line up with everybody else, that's a perfect place to come to.
I love Trans Am. My first professional race that I ever went to, my dad took me to, was a Trans Am race at Lime Rock in 1968. And I was just a little kid, but I was so impressed with the cars, the sound, the vibrations I could feel, and the speed, and and it was legendary drivers that I'd never heard of before, but now they are in fact legendary. People like Mark Donahue, Peter Revson, George Fulmer, Parnelli Jones, just people that are heroes in motorsports, and they were all over. And as a kid, I didn't know who anybody was. All I knew was I liked the cars, the Camaros and the Mustangs. It was just really so I've got a real soft spot in my heart for Trans Am, because that's, again, the first professional racing I ever really witnessed. One of the things that is amazing to me, Adrian, and I didn't know this until like we were talking today. I assumed, like most of the other drivers I know, that you were driving for an established team. That there's a team that's already out there and doing their thing, and you bring money to drive, or in some cases they pay you to drive. That's not the case. That's not the case with your team, right? You are the team, aren't you?
Yep. So I own the team. We built this team obviously years ago, coming from my shop and stuff like that. And I do have sponsors, right? I wouldn't be able to race without sponsors. But even with me owning the team, I have a great crew chief. I have a great team where when we get to the track, I may hire people here and there when we're sitting here in this office. But then when we get to the track, Billy Harrison, he's the boss. I let everybody know I don't know anything. I'm not the boss anymore. 2 years ago, it became clear that I had to concentrate just on driving. Yeah. The competition's way too fierce. I don't micromanage. I don't know what's going on. I let Billy and everybody else be in charge. They're the boss, and I'm almost the employee at that point. Yeah. Even though I own the team, I step down and I switch.
That's smart.
And the key to I feel like recent success has been able to do that. Like to realize that even though I own the team, I'm not the boss anymore. And I've learned to listen to Billy as if he's my boss, as if he's paying my check. And I think that's huge. And I think that was probably one of the hardest things that I had to deal with, being the owner of the team and driver, and then try to compete for top fives every weekend.
We're gonna take another break here. When we come back, though, Adrian, I want to know how you connected with Billy. How did you meet? How did you connect? And why is he now your team manager? I want to know that. So, folks, don't go away. We're going to be back with Adrian. We got more stories to talk about, more Trans Am to talk about. What's he going to be doing in 26 as well? So stay tuned. We'll be right back. I promise. Don't go away.
This next segment is brought to you by Speedsport and Speedsport 1. Racing doesn't stop, and neither does Speedsport. From breaking news to in-depth coverage of major events across the country, they keep fans locked into motorsports all year long. IndyCar, NASCAR, dirt track, or drag racing, if it's happening, Speedsport is covering it. So don't miss a lap. Visit speedsport.com Tune in to Speedsport 1 or check out speedsport1.com. Your home for everything racing.
Hey, welcome back. Pits are open. Will Murata, your host. Alex Smith, our engineer producer. I want to ask you too. I didn't mention this earlier. Those of you watching, if you're watching tonight in Speedsport on Thursday night, or you're watching later as recorded piece, two things I would ask you to do. First of all, go to our website, thepitsareopen.com, and across the top you'll see a banner. Click on that banner and please sign up for our weekly newsletter. We won't bombard you. It comes out once a week. It's going to have some interesting racing stories for you and a preview of the upcoming episode of The Pits Are Open. So that's thepitsareopen.com. Go there, please, and sign up for a newsletter. And then if you are watching as a recorded piece, if you happen to be on YouTube, please like it and subscribe to our YouTube channel because it's free and it helps us quite a bit. So thank you so much for that. Adrien Lostowski is a competitive Trans Am driver and in New York. We love New York. We love to visit New York. I don't know. Little too hectic for my time, Adrian. But you mentioned Billy, your team manager, and it's so important because I manage a large nonprofit organization, and a long time ago I had to realize that I can't micromanage it. I have to let people do their jobs, and so I try to explain to people I don't know what's going on, and I'm not kidding. I'm serious when I say that. How did you meet Billy? What was the first time you guys again, and how is it that you ended up inviting him to be your team manager?
So in 2021, as part of growing the team, I invested in buying a tractor trailer semi, the big the NASCAR type of hauler and stuff like that.
Sure.
And we had a race in California, and we're like, oh, we need a driver to go to California. So Tim Cantrell, he was the driver of the Trans Am Series hauler at that time, and he recommended me to Billy. Billy was going to come and do one race with us. Just, drive the truck over there, help us out at the track, and then come back. And at that point, we are new to TA2. Mm-hmm. We didn't know much, the setup of the cars and stuff like that. And all of a sudden, I think he even saw, because I remember Sam Mayer, we were running behind Sam Mayer, in 8th or 9th position at Laguna Seca. And Billy's like, holy smokes, we're not doing that bad for a team that we just put together 5 minutes ago, And him and I hit it off right away. It was the weirdest thing. A guy from Georgia, and he calls me a Yankee sometimes because I'm up in New York. And he comes out and does that one race with us. And he's been at every other race since then, since 2021 California, and slowly evolved to becoming the team manager, my crew chief. And now it's become such a good relationship, like driver, crew chief type of thing, that I don't think I could do without him, And there's a lot of people. I mean, with How Racing has helped me out. I don't think I'd be where I am today without How Racing. They believed in me, coming into TA2 saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And it almost seems like a lot of people go, oh, sure you will, but they kind of helped me a lot to get to where I am, Billy and the whole team, and as sponsors as well. CMI now, Spot On Services, I see they really believed in me, and they believed we could do well. We finished in the top 3 this year in points, and I think this year we're going to be battling for wins, and we're looking for a championship. There's, like I mentioned before, there was a few. You always try to get rid of your weak links in a chain, and we pointed a few of them out. We worked on it over the winter, and I think this team coming into Sebring will be the best one ever going into any race. I think we'll have the best equipment going into any race. And I think we really have a shot at this year. Mm-hmm.
So, and Sebring's, I think Sebring's a tough track. So you'll be racing there. At the end of this month, is that your opener?
Yep, March 1st is our first race there.
Let me ask you, because you're a team owner, I'm a team owner. Some things that others might look past are extremely important. One of the things that we found over the years are important is the level of hospitality you can provide for your clients, sponsors, friends, families of those folks. Are you able to do that in the TA2 series, and to what extent, to what level?
So we have an arrive and drive program as well with our series, with our program. So we usually have 5 or 6 guys under our tent for this season. One is Doug Winston. Another driver coming in is Gavin Gleitzman. He's actually 15 years old, turning 16 at the Sebring race. So I'm kind of coaching him, putting him under my wing. Maciek, he's another great driver that's come with us for the whole season. Preston, Aiden. So that's kind of like our, we have a whole crew, car chiefs, a whole chain of command for everybody to be taken care of. But then races like Lime Rock, we'll have catering for all our guests. We'll have catering for 100 people.
Wow.
We'll have some of our sponsors come in. They'll get VIP treatment at Lime Rock, get a chance to go in the tower, timing and scoring, the broadcast booth, hopefully meet you as well, and stuff like that. So we have food, right? We have food all weekend for everybody at all the races. But this Lime Rock, we try to go extra special for that one. Good.
We should set up the Pits Are Open remote booth like we had at PRI. We could broadcast from the track. That would be fun. So you had a great year last year. Again, the fact that you're an independent team and you finished third with all the competition that's out there, it was remarkable. And you think there's more. You're gonna go for more. You want to go for a championship, right? What are the things that what are the challenges that you face, Adrian, in getting to that next level?
The challenge is always like in racing, sponsorship, funding, right? For more testing, more this, more that. And I think we got into a point where I know we can't test as much as we'd like, but we do have a lot of data coming out of last year that maybe there's a lot of engineers on our team that put together a whole list saying this didn't work. We reviewed our whole year in the wintertime to say this didn't work, this worked, this didn't work, we're going to try this. And, since we have 5-6 cars under a 10, I got a chance to drive a few of them at the test, the customer cars, the arrive and drive cars, and they would have slightly different setups in there. And then I would come back and I'd say, well, this one feels better in this one, that one feels worse in this one,
how
and
great
these brakes feel this way.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's almost like we're killing a bunch of birds with one stone. How many birds can we kill with this one stone? And I think that's a major thing. Some of our, engineers did a great job putting lists together. Organization is everything to a winning race team. Even as simple as organizing the race trailer so guys could find things quicker.
Right.
Little things like that get overlooked, and I think that's what makes championship teams. What makes a championship team is your race trailer has to be perfect. Your tools have to be perfect.
Right.
Your car has to be perfect. Everything in that car has to be perfect. The people that are working on it have to be perfect. And then your driver has to be perfect. And then that particular day you're racing, everything has to go your way. So that's what's involved to winning a race. And I think we're trying to get as much as we can. And I told them at Lime Rock this year, because last year we had rain.
Yeah.
We tried we tried to stay on the slicks, hoping it would stop raining. Stopped raining for 5 minutes, which we were so happy, but then it started raining again. This year I'm having my engineers invest in some weather equipment so we can predict the weather a little bit better.
Wow.
And we'll be ready for snow if it comes. So there's nothing that's going to stop us at Lime Rock this year. Mark my words. Watch us at Lime Rock this year. We're going to be finishing on a podium that race.
I'm so excited to hear that. I really want to make it. I have to come back for a quick stop at Indianapolis, so we'll connect. But I really look forward to connecting with you at Lime Rock this year. It'll be a lot of fun. So hey, thank you for taking time. Thanks for being our guest. And we'll have to have you on before Lime Rock. Give us an update of how the season's going and what it looks like going into Memorial Day weekend. So Adrian, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you coming on the Pits Are Open today.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Okay, we're going to take another break, and we will be back with our next guest, who is you're going to love the next guest. I mean, to say he's an iRacing expert might be an understatement. He's got a lot going on. If you're into iRacing, you're into simulators, you're going to be fascinated with our next guest. We'll be right back.
This next segment is brought to you by America's Christian Credit Union. If you're looking for a smart way to grow your savings without compromising your values, pay attention. Right now, America's Christian Credit Union is offering a 12-month certificate at 4.5%. That's one of the highest rates in the nation, and it's available for a limited time to new members. You can start with as little as $1,000 or invest up to $1 million. It works like a CD, but with purpose behind it. Lock it in before the rate drops. Visit americaschristiancu.com/pits to get started.
All right, welcome back. Pits are open. Will Marotti, your host. Alex Smith, our engineer. And today, this week is our anniversary week. We started 1 year ago with this program, and we're so grateful. I was shocked to hear what our next guest is doing. This is George Anzaldo. He is a community builder in the sim racing world. He's founder of iRacing Expo, which you're going to love to hear about. Organizes and structures championship digital competition pathways. He's helped create opportunities for grassroots racers to gain visibility and credibility. Through his league and his leadership and promotion partnership, he has become a recognized advocate in the sim racing, iRacing world, pursuing higher levels of competition. So, George, welcome to the Pits Are Open. Thanks for coming on. So, George, thanks for coming on. How did you get involved in iRacing? What was the beginning of all that?
Yeah, well, just been a longtime motorsports fan, especially on the IndyCar side of things. I grew up watching IndyCar from back in the kart era. And just enjoyed PC gaming. Played some of the early sims from studios such as Papyrus, which the members there actually went on to found iRacing. Kind of got my start early on with there. But in terms of iRacing, I joined in about 2013. And, I kind of had been wanting to get back into motorsports simulation. Mm-hmm. And I actually found it like in the middle of the night. I was just doing a search on the internet. I'm like, IndyCar simulator. And then up pops iRacing. And it was like this, like the windows and the lights from above, like just shined, I'm like, this is amazing. So it was really one of those, like,
the heavens parted.
Yes, exactly. And, I dove right in and, I really never looked back. So it's been a journey from, again, like since like 2013, and it actually like brought me to start my own league. And so that was one of the other catalysts that really kind of like propelled my journey in simulation racing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, starting your own league sounds, man, it sounds like a big deal. I would be, first of all, I wouldn't know how to start. Number two, I wouldn't know how to keep it going. So I'm pretty impressed that you started a league. I mean, there's a lot of folks involved in iRacing, I know. And, so tell us a little bit about the league. That is so amazing.
So I basically, I was, competing in the public lobbies for maybe about a year's time and had met some, really great people. And we were always trying to like schedule, which servers we were going to hop into so that we could all race together. And I think very naturally, it just got to the point where, it's like, hey, why don't we start racing together? I think we can really create something here and really get organized. I mean, again, like being a fan of real world motorsports, we all have this appreciation of what the drivers go through over like a long demanding season. And so we wanted to recreate that a little bit. And then also like, I wanted to connect with companies and potential sponsors to see like, well, what can we provide for these drivers to show for at the end of a long year? Like, and so we were able to bring some prize money and, physical hardware as prizes into the mix. And it was just a really exciting time. And then again, like, creating our schedule and, just like a real race weekend, we would have our practice sessions and qualifying and the race server. And we brought in, broadcast companies to handle the media production side of things. And we had statisticians and live timing and scoring, like all of these things that we see on a day-to-day basis in real world motorsports. Again, like, we were trying to replicate that as closely as possible. And really that's the beauty of simulation, that it truly is in many instances, at least on the visual side of things, a one-to-one representation of their real world counterparts. So I think we were all just trying to get that little taste of the thrill of what the real world drivers go through on a day-to-day basis. Yeah.
George, what's your background? I mean, it seems to me you'd have to have some sense of the digital world and computers. I mean, I But I know I'm dangerous with the amount of stuff that I know about computers. But you have to have some background. How did you pick up this knowledge?
I mean, you know what? I've just been involved with computers for a long time, since an early age. I mean, from the DOS days, and the struggles of trying to figure out all of these things and how they work, and just kind of seeing the progression of the advancement of technology. I mean, my day job though is I'm actually a paramedic. I work for the Chicago Fire Department. I've been with the city for like 26 years now, and
amazing.
But always just a tech enthusiast. And so, with regards to those things, I mean, I think, again, just being an enthusiast and really kind of like throwing myself into all of this tech and figuring out how it works is. But yeah, no formal side on like the IT side or tech side of things.
Wow.
A lot of this stuff just picked up. Again, like just in terms of speaking with companies and talking with marketing professionals and all of these things, like just, I guess, kind of self-taught, and I'm still learning. I'm new to business, especially with the Sim Gaming Expo. But I'm a quick learner and happy to study. And again, like just the support from other business owners and people in the community again has been huge in terms of my growth.
Definitely want to talk about the expo, and after our break, I want to really dedicate most of the time to the expo. But I'm curious, how many people did you start out with when you were forming the league? Like, are we talking about 2 people, 3 people, 20 people? How many enthusiasts were involved in starting the league?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say there was probably a good solid like 5 of us that were probably like the founding members, the ones that were there to really like, dig deep and dive into like, okay, well, how is this going to work out? We need a rule book. We need a schedule. Like, what cars are we running? How are we going to recruit? What about the website? Like all of these things. So I had help in those early days with people kind of chipping in various, areas and sharing their strengths, and putting into like the overall, just like, how do we get this thing off the ground?
Well, did you market it? How did you get the word out? Well,
Yeah. So the iRacing platform, what's so amazing about it is that it has such an amazing community. Okay. And so, for example, there are online forums, just even again, like just connecting with the people who were competing in those public lobbies, and talking with them. And we also were able to kind of like create our own recruiting sessions where we would host, the IndyCar at Milwaukee or in Indianapolis, and just talk to people and let them know like, hey, we're getting ready to put this league on. And so I think through some of that word of mouth and some of the advertising, and eventually with our website, we were able to start attracting drivers. And and our league was born.
So cool. All right, when we get back, I want to talk about your expo that you had in 2025. You're having another one that's 26. I want to hear all about the expo. And I know we've got a lot of folks that are watching that are into iRacing. And I want to do everything we can to help you with the expo. So stay with us. We'll be right back with George. We've got a lot more to talk about when we return.
This next segment is brought to you by Redline Ace. In racing, how you show up matters, and Redline Ace makes sure that your team looks the part. Located just minutes from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana, Redline Ace specializes in high-performance motorsports graphics trusted at every level of competition. From custom wraps and team branding to helmets, haulers, and hero cards, they make sure that you look as fast as you drive. Check them out at redlineace.com and see why champions trust Redline Ace to keep their image in victory lane.
All right, welcome back. Pits are open. Will Marotti, Alex Smith, our engineer with us, and welcome to our 1-year anniversary week. This is so exciting, particularly those of you watching us on Speedport 1. If you're watching on a recorded channel, please, particularly if it's YouTube, would you take a moment, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Helps us so much, and it's free. It's free. We're talking with George Anzaldo. George is a paramedic in the Chicago area, but a racer, a lover of racing, a diehard 100% fan. You cut him, he bleeds methanol or ethanol or what. Anyway, George, I've been a pastor for decades, pastoring church for many, many years, and we do a lot of events. And sometimes the events are extremely successful, hundreds, thousands. Sometimes they're flops. Like it's hard to know sometimes what you're going to do. And we've done, I don't know, Alex, how many I can't even guess how many dozens would be an underestimate. You tried something last year for the first time that really went well. Tell us about Expo.
Yeah, so I founded and produced the Sim Gaming Expo, which took place last year in September. Essentially, what the show is it's a celebration of all genres of simulation, VR, and technology. Basically, anything that falls under the umbrella of immersive gaming was what our show aimed to cover. Of course, with my love and passion of motorsports, sim racing did play a major role at our event. We had this huge competition area. We had companies that were coming from not only the United States and Canada, but even from Europe. So we had some amazing representation. I think that we've built some momentum, and there's a lot of excitement going into 2026. And it was a fun event. Again, like something that I looked at, like the North American landscape, and saw that not much was happening in terms of simulation. And I just thought, like, well, how can I expand on this? How can I share like my love and passion for sim racing and motorsports with more people? And then it was like, well, hey, there are these other genres. Let's make one big celebration and see what we could build here. Ultimately, the show is, like I like to say, for fans by fans, and it's really a great gathering of this community. And we're excited to see how things continue to progress.
So your first year last year, Chicago area, and you didn't just have like 100 or 200 people show up, right? How many did you have, George?
Yeah, well, we had about 2,000 people show up, which, I mean, it's
2,000.
I mean, it's a humble beginning, I guess I would say. I mean,
it's not a humble beginning, because I know people who put shows on, conferences, and 150 people show up. To start your first event and have 2,000 people is a home run, George. Home run.
I appreciate that.
And I don't care what industry, what field. I don't care what it is. Maybe if you had a bunch of cannabis people together, you had more than 2,000. I don't know. But first time out. So, I mean, what was that like? I mean, gosh, you had vendors there. Did you rent booth space? I mean, well, how did that go?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had 40 physical vendors that were present, that were showcasing, their gear. We did have, like I said, enthusiasts from all over the place. We had people coming from 44 states here in America, and between the exhibitors and the attendees, it was a total of 17 countries. It was really cool. We actually we attracted Tony Kanaan. So TK was at the event, and he was meeting with fans, and he actually, what was really cool too, he was so gracious of his time. He actually headed back to our competition area and was like guest commentating on one of the IndyCar races that we had during the weekend. So it was really cool. And again, it's just, we're seeing so much more now, this blending, if you will, of real world and simulation just coming together. And again, like, we're seeing people who got their start in simulation and finding themselves in real world motorsports. It's beautiful, honestly. And because again, like, that's what we're trying to capture, like just that little bit, that thrill. Like, again, like, most normal people are not going to be able to scream down the front stretch at Indy at 230 miles an hour into turn one, but we can kind of have a taste of that with simulation. And the thing is, what's so beautiful about it is the technology has come such a long way that, it's getting to the point where, at least from your mind and your eyes perspective, you're starting to be really fooled. Like, you really do feel like it. You feel like you're in the car. Of course, the G-forces aren't there, and the risk, that comes from participating, competing in real world motorsports is not there. But we still get to capture that thrill and get a sense of what it's like to be in the cockpit.
I mean, anytime I see a simulator, I'll be at the Indianapolis Museum, I see a simulator, I jump in. I mean, I just can't help myself. I'm addicted. Now, we talked about this a few weeks ago. The connection between iRacing and actually simulators. You and I share a friend in Sean McDonald at Simcraft. Is it, help me, is it safe to say that people who have simulators are probably involved in iRacing?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I would say it's probably the most popular motorsport simulation software out there.
Yeah.
Again, just being a member for such a long time, I mean, I can definitely speak to, the experience and the realism and, the physics and things that it provides. And, it's been a fantastic platform. And then again, like Simcraft, when you talk about bringing like the upper echelon of realism, I mean, they make some amazing simulators, and they were present at our show last year. So people actually got to jump in, these $100,000+ simulators that professional race teams are using. It was exciting. Again, like not everyone has an opportunity to test out this type of equipment on a daily basis. And so our show, again, provides that opportunity to bring people that much closer to what it's like to be in a race car. So, yeah.
So you're planning on a encore performance, right? 26, you're going to have, again, the Expo?
Yeah, so we actually have a 2-year contract with our venue, which is the Schaumburg Convention Center, located in Schaumburg, Illinois. It's a suburb just outside the city of Chicago. Our show dates are 18th through the 20th, and we've already begun like reaching out to companies and just starting the conversation. It seems like more are interested now. Like I said, we've got this momentum where first year, a lot of companies were like, "Hey, I don't know what this is going to be about. Like, do you have pictures and video of like previous years?" And it's like, sorry, I don't. It's our first year. But now, like I said, we're carrying all that into 2026. And the conversations, seemingly like, they're already, they're very meaningful. And
sure.
We're gaining some traction. So I really do believe that 2026 is going to be a great year.
Well, I'm excited about it because I want to come out there. I want to bring the Pits Are Open out there and broadcast, and we'll dedicate a whole show to the Expo. I mean, that'll be amazing to be able to meet all these folks. So please keep me in mind, because I'd love to come out and bring the stuff with us. We did PRI this year. It was a wonderful. Our first remote was at PRI. Wonderful experience. Going to do it again this year. But I'd love to follow that up with Expo 26, and that'd be so good. George, thank you so much for taking time. Great to meet you. Wonderful to talk to you again. I'm really proud of what you're doing. I think it's cool. It's really cool, and I look forward to being part of it this coming year. So that'll be exciting.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it, and hats off to what you're doing. And we'd love to have you out at our show next.
All right. We'll talk again. We'll talk again soon. Thanks so much. George Anzaldo, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you. So, we're out of time, huh, Alex? Yeah. Okay. About a minute. Okay. Listen, happy anniversary, our 1-year anniversary this week. So excited. We got a lot of cool things coming up for year 2. We'll talk more about it in the coming weeks. And thank you again, Speedsport 1. Everybody watching on Speedsport 1, thank you so much. If you're on a recorded channel, watch us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, please like, subscribe, go to our website, pitcheropen.com. God bless you guys. We love you.